children wade in the water, God's gonna trouble the water. In the water, love in the water, children love in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Love in the water. Love in the water.
Que ayer fui a ver a mi esposo y a mis dos hijos y a mi yerno.
Yesterday I was at the river. I went to see my husband, my two children, and my son-in-law.
Que mis hijos ya tenía como 16 años que no los miraba.
It had been 16 years since I hadn't been able to see my children.
Y a mi esposo apenas tiene 2 años porque él estaba aquí como por 30 años ya.
My husband had been here in the country for over 30 years.
Él tenía su permiso de migración y
he had a work permit that immigration had given him.
Y un día le hablaron que se le borró la voz del sistema, que fuera para grabarla otra vez.
And one day he got a call that the system, your voice is not anymore in the system, so you need to come and present here.
Y él se presentó para que firmaran para que le grabaran la voz otra vez y le dicen, duró como 1 hora sentado esperando y le dicen, llegan y dicen, firma aquí, dice que es donde te estás presentando, pues él firmó.
So he went there and he waited for 1 hour, and then one of the agents arrived with a paper and told him to sign. And he was like, what is this paper about? And it's just a paper saying that you're here presenting yourself.
Y ya cuando él firmó le dicen que si tiene abogado, tiene familia en México, porque ese papel que él acababa de firmar ya era su salida por 10 años.
And after he had signed, he was told, okay, do you have family in Mexico? Do you have an attorney that can represent you because you are going to be deported to Mexico?
Y ahorita pues él ya tiene 2 años que lo deportaron. Después de tener ya aquí casi 30 años hasta se enfermó, le pegó diabetes y todo.
So it's been 2 years since he was deported and he got sick. He got diabetes because of all the burden that he had to carry with him.
Pues es algo muy triste porque pues hasta con engaños sacar a la gente. Él no tenía ningún récord criminal. O sea, el único delito era haber estado aquí ilegal.
It is very sad because he was no criminal. The only issue that he had is he wasn't documented, and that's it. And that's why he got deported.
Pues tenía su abogada y todo, y la abogada dijo que ella ya no podía hacer nada.
He had an attorney, but the attorney wasn't defending him at all. She just said, I can't do anything for your husband.
Y por eso pues aquí estamos, y gracias a ustedes que nos escuchan y a que nos apoyen, a que pues un día se pueda hacer una reforma migratoria y no haya más separación de familia.
And thank you for being here and for listening to our testimonies. We hope that someday we can have an immigration reform and being able to reunite with our family members permanently.
Justice in the water.
The house has mold and mildew. It's tore up. They paid $127,000 for this trailer.
They did what?
$127,000. That's one of the things you need to bring when you talk about rural poverty. How much is
The cost of poverty. The cost of being poor.
Yeah, they charge more.
Which trailer?
The blue one over there. That's why we see so many people in trailers, but they're paying a whole lot more than if they would have stick to
And the interest rate's probably crazy.
It was 10. We saw. Look, she showed us the bill yesterday. It was 10. It was over 10%.
For a single wide.
For a single wide mobile home, they're barely living in it.
This Pamela?
Yes.
Hey Pamela.
Hi.
William Barber.
All
William
right.
Barber.
Nice to meet you.
Still have it.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for letting us come. And I just heard you stay here, and I just heard $100,000.
Yes. Over 100.
What was
Over
the
100.
single wide 20 years ago?
Yes.
You still paying for it?
Mm-hmm. And look at this. She's gonna show the shape.
Yeah. Because with $100,000 20 years ago, you could have bought a house.
Yeah.
But they scammed. They wouldn't give you the loan for the house, but they give you the loan for the trailer.
Yeah, my one of
But
them out too.
but see, it should be illegal, in a sense, to charge somebody. This probably 5 times more than it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And 20 years ago. What you got here is predatory lending. which is all predatory lending. It's when people lend in poor communities, get people all tied up in debt forever. Right. You know, because on a house mortgage interest is only normally about, what, 3%? Something like that. Yeah.
I feel bad because I don't have stuff to give my children. I'm paying all these bills, and they need school clothes and stuff, and they be asking me for it. I can't give it to them.
Do you see that somebody that would take advantage of a poor family
Yeah,
as criminal?
Yeah, it was sick. Yes,
like
it's a criminal.
It's criminal.
Yes, they treated us wrong.
Because that's one thing. That
That's
is,
a major problem.
that right in just in and of itself. You know.
That's a major problem. That's a major problem here, and
Sure, and all across rural and poor communities.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And this is that.
Pay more for food, more for electricity, more for water, and then you get predatory lending in housing.
That's right.
Can I pray with you? Eternal God who loves justice, mercy, and grace, we thank you today for Pamela, her strength, her family. We stand against this kind of oppression and wrong. And we thank you for giving her the courage by your Spirit to say, I'll no longer be quiet or silent or in hiding.
So Miss Loretta asked me to tell my story, and usually when I do that, people want to hear about my life in poverty. I'm 46 years old. I've lived in poverty here in West Virginia every day of my life. I've been the only parent for 2 young girls. I'm going to get emotional. My oldest one's right here. But I've lived in poverty with them because it doesn't matter. Whenever you're a single mom, I even have a bachelor's degree. $38,000 a year really isn't enough. So what I want to say, this may be a pretty unpopular decision, but I want to tell my story that I want to tell you tonight is how I had this realization today on the way to Charleston when I was talking to Jennifer on the phone about, I don't know what I'm going to say tonight. And so I want to tell you something I've only said out loud to 2 other people. When this teacher's work stoppage was over, I found myself so angry. I was mad. I didn't understand because, I'm the only mom. My kids were with me for 9 extra days. And so I should have been happy, right, that they were going back to school. But I found myself with all these really ugly emotions. And I'm like, why am I so mad about this? And then I got to thinking, it's because I've watched my state and I've watched my nation rally behind these teachers who are making more money than the people I organize around with our children, our future every day. We're fighting for middle-class people because they want better health insurance. Why aren't you guys fighting for us whenever they're taking our Medicaid away? When my daughters and I had to go to, I'm shaking all over. When my daughters and I had to go to Washington, D.C. in December, we had to fight for our own health insurance. We didn't have 10,000 West Virginians signing petitions and standing with us. And I'm working. I am a working poor with a bachelor's degree. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. So my thing to you, because I am an organizer, and I always have an ask as well, but my ask for you is we need you to help us. Every time you hear a call, I want you to pull out your phone right now and tweet the governor of West Virginia, because we became so angry because those teachers wanted a raise and the teachers wanted better health insurance. Why aren't we that mad when our governor just cut off food stamps to someone who's waiting on a decision from disability and is hungry? Where is that anger and where is that unity? So take out your phone and tweet them. Let them know the Poor People's Campaign, I'm shaking all over, is in West Virginia right now. And we're watching because that's what we need for you to do for us. Thank you. Don't make me shake anymore.
Yeah, so if you look in this region, see the highway loops like this. But if you look in this area right here, this is the discussion right now where the tailings are going to go. And say we just left the freeway. And you're talking about 15 miles of toxic waste that's going to be sitting and will be airborne. And what's so crazy is that when I was telling you that this place was exempt from all the environmental and cultural laws, this is one place that has a lot of historical land base yet. And for Resolution Copper, for anybody to say that there's nothing here, I mean, just using your camera, you can see already the travel of what it was. And so, you know, it's just really sad because when you get exempt from these environmental laws, then all of this doesn't come to play. So that means that the historical part of this country is being wiped out.
So you've always grown up here? I mean,
Yeah, I've lived 80% of my life in Superior. I've moved out here and there,
right.
you know, but I always come back home. In fact, I'm living in the house I grew up in. What we're coming up to now is a pond. It's not much of a pond anymore. But we used to have these beautiful blue cranes that came here oh my God, look at it. That, it was full. I can show you before and after pictures. That makes me want to cry. Because just a week ago, it wasn't that low. And the reason being is because they suck up all the water. Because if they don't suck up all the groundwater, then it wrecks their tunnels that they're building underneath. I have to really.
You can get angry. It's all right.
Well, it's more hurt than anger. I came out here one time, and it was like this. It was worse, actually. And there was all these little animal tracks going just to what little water was left, and it just broke my heart.
Because we sit here and we look, okay, you know, and I tell my kids, I said, look at everything the United States is doing. Look at all the wealth. I said, if, let's say we were like them, I said, that's all ours, you know? I mean, that's all the Native Americans. Everything they're using is ours, you know? But I said, I bet you they don't even think twice about it, you know? Because that's not their mentality. These ruthless ones, these terrible ones that came first, they embedded that. It's easy to lose that focus because everybody came in that second chapter. But they got to go to the first chapter. The first chapter is going to tell the story of this country. You know, and then Congress or nobody can turn away from it. They have no answers to it. So, you know, this Poor People's Campaign needs to know that they have artillery, you know, religious artillery that can help the movement. But if you don't recognize us, and then it goes back to that second chapter that we're the forgotten ones.